Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics, before continuing Y&R spoilers, weekly update August 4th to 8th, Clare vs. Audra, Adam's defiance, Chelsea and Lily bond. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for the week of August 4th, 2025. Fans can expect Clare Grace Newman, Haley Aaron to set the record straight with Audrey Charles, Zulia Silver, Victor Newman. Eric Braden gets fed up with Adam Newman's Mark Grossman disobedience. Get updates on the latest news about the Young and the Restless straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Plus, Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan shares a secret with Lily Winters, Crystal Halil. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera, Clare Grace Newman vs. Audrey Charles. Let's begin with Clare, who has reunited with Kyle Abbott, Michael Miller. The blonde ends up storming out of Victor's house on the day of Cole Howard's J. Eddie Peck memorial service. Next, Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, will try to reason with her husband, but they end up having a fight instead of resolution. Later, Victor tells Audra that their deal is over. Meanwhile, Kyle confesses to Clare. Once the blonde gets over the bombshell, she confronts Audra. That is when she will set the record straight with the temptress. What is this? Y&R Clare Grace Newman vs. Audrey Charles. The summer heat in Genoa City had always been sweltering, but nothing compared to the simmering tension now brewing between two of its most dynamic and cunning women, Clare Grace Newman and Audrey Charles. They were two forces of nature, two women molded by power, secrets, and ambition, destined to clash in a war that would leave ripples throughout the city and shake Newman Enterprises to its core. Clare had returned to Genoa City stronger, sharper, and more determined than ever. The granddaughter of Victor Newman had a new sense of purpose. After surviving her traumatic past, gaining Victor's trust, and slowly embedding herself into the Newman dynasty, she had her sights set on legacy, redemption, and control. She knew the road wouldn't be easy. There were still whispers of her past, still eyes watching. But Clare had proven she was more than just a pawn in someone else's game. She was now a player. Audra Charles, meanwhile, had clawed her way through every challenge with style and skill. From her early days manipulating executives to becoming an influential executive herself, Audra had mastered the art of blending beauty with strategy. Her alliances were transactional, her loyalty flexible, and her ambition limitless. She had embedded herself with powerful men like Tucker McCall and Nate Hastings, survived scandal, and come out more empowered each time. She wasn't intimidated by the Newman name. On the contrary, she saw it as a stepping stone. It started, subtly. Clare, newly appointed as director of Newman Media after Victor's bold restructuring, made it clear she would bring integrity back to the brand. Audra, who had previously led the division with a cutthroat approach, saw it as a slap in the face. Victor's decision to oust her and install Clare in the seat she believed was hers was not just insulting, it was war. The corridors of Newman Enterprises turned colder. Staff began to notice the tension. Meetings became verbal sparring matches. Audra made calculated jabs about Clare's past, while Clare fired back with mentions of ethics and loyalty, two things Audra could never convincingly claim. Clare's polished yet firm approach earned her admiration from the boardroom, while Audrey's ferocity kept her dangerous and respected in equal measure. Then came the catalyst. The Valencia acquisition. A powerful media conglomerate based in Europe was looking to enter the American market, and both women saw the opportunity to secure it as a way to cement their dominance. Victor gave the green light for both to pitch their independent strategies, pitting them directly against each other. It wasn't just business, it was personal. Clare flew to Madrid first, arriving with an elegant, transparent proposal that emphasized integrity, cross-generational appeal, and global branding backed by Newman's legacy. She made an impression, not just with her polished presentation, but with her sincerity. The Valencia board, weary of cutthroat American execs, appreciated Clare's balanced tone. Audra, on the other hand, came with a firestorm. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. She promised disruption, fast profits, and a non-nonsense strategy that involved aggressive digital monetization and global expansion. She was magnetic, unapologetically bold, and relentless. While the board was impressed by Clare, they were intrigued, maybe even seduced, by Audra. Back in Genoa City, the battle lines intensified. Nikki Newman was cautiously supportive of Clare, but warned her not to underestimate Audra. That woman is not just dangerous, she's deliberate, Nikki warned. Victoria, meanwhile, admired both women's tenacity, but began to worry that this rivalry could destabilize the company. Then came the leak. Confidential documents from the Valencia meetings were mysteriously released to the media. The leak painted Clare as naive, soft, someone relying on family name rather than merit. Audra denied any involvement, but Clare wasn't convinced. She knew this was a move from Audra's playbook. Clare's first instinct was to go to Victor, but instead she investigated quietly, gathering evidence. It took only a week for Clare to find the smoking gun, a recording from a former PR consultant who had been paid by someone in Audra's camp. Clare didn't go public. She waited. She studied Audra's next moves. And when Audra thought she had the upper hand, Clare struck. At the next Newman board meeting with Victor, Victoria, and Adam present, Clare laid out her case. She presented her strategy updates, recent press traction, and testimonials from Valencia executives, who now leaned heavily in her favor. Then she quietly dropped the bomb, a veiled reference to corporate sabotage, data leaks, and a former executive still clinging to relevance through deception. Victor's gaze turned cold as he looked at Audra. She maintained her composure, but her jaw tightened. Clare's attack had been subtle, but lethal. Audra wasn't finished. She had dirt. Deep, dangerous secrets from Clare's past that had never reached the press. Events from her time under Jordan's influence, unsealed records, psychological evaluations. She debated whether to use them. She hated playing dirty, but war was war. But Tucker McCall complicated things. Seeing the war between the women, he saw opportunity. He approached Audra with an offer. Partner with him. Use the Valencia deal to build a new media empire separate from Newman. For once Audra hesitated. She wanted revenge, not escape. But the offer was tempting. She could leave Newman behind, take her talents elsewhere, and thrive. Clare, meanwhile, received a surprising visitor, Noah Newman. He had heard about the battle and offered moral support. "You're doing something important," he told her. "Don't let Audra distract you. You're not the same girl you were." His words gave her strength. Audra declined Tucker's offer. She would see this war through. Days later, she summoned Clare for a private meeting in a rooftop bar above the Grand Phoenix. "You won the Valencia deal." "Congratulations," Audra said smoothly, "but don't mistake a single win for dominance." Clare sipped her sparkling water. Calm and poised. "It wasn't just a win, Audra, it was a statement. Newman isn't your playground anymore." Audra leaned in. "You know, I could destroy you with a few calls, just a couple of whispers about what you did in that facility when you were Jordan's puppet." Clare's eyes didn't flinch. "Try me. And if you do, you better make sure you don't have any skeletons of your own, because I have your texts, your blackmail trail, your deals with media outlets to smear competitors. You fire first. I'll finish it." The two women stared each other down. The skyline of Genoa City glowing behind them. Neither backed down. Over the next few weeks, the Cold War intensified. Audra began building her own shadow media network with investors quietly recruited through Nate. She started stealing clients and launching a new venture, Sable Media. Meanwhile, Clare began shifting Newman Media into a sleek, ethical content brand targeting younger demographics and digital native audiences. Audra landed her first public attack, a scathing exposure on Clare's past. Published under a pseudonym, hinting at her time in psychiatric care and alleged manipulations, but Clare had prepped for this moment. In an emotional yet poised video, she addressed the rumors head-on. She spoke of trauma, healing, accountability, and rising from manipulation. The video went viral. Public support swelled in her favor. She wasn't a victim, she was a survivor, a fighter. Victor was proud. "You took everything thrown at you and stood taller. You're a Newman," he told her. But Audra wasn't finished. She went after allies, tried poaching Clare's assistant, seducing a junior exec to leak strategies, and even hinted at rekindling things with Kyle Abbott just to get under Summer's skin and shake Clare's circle. Clare responded with laser focus. She hired stronger legal counsel, restructured departments to be less vulnerable to infiltration, and started winning smaller battles, one client at a time. The final showdown came at the Genoa City Business Gala. Both women were scheduled to speak. Audra came in sleek and dramatic, all eyes on her. Clare walked in beside Victor and Victoria, a vision of strength and elegance. When it was Clare's turn to speak, she talked about second chances, legacy, and resilience. When Audra spoke, she talked about disruption, power, and risk. The crowd was split, but investors weren't. Days later, Sable Media's biggest investor pulled out after anonymous tips surfaced, linked to old ethics scandals involving Audra's previous deals. The source, never confirmed, but Audra knew. She confronted Clare in the Newman Tower parking lot. "You want me gone? Fine, but don't ever forget, I'm not the one who had to be rescued from my past. I made mine work for me," Clare replied with steel in her voice, "and I rose above mine. That's the difference between us." In the end, Audra left Genoa City for now. Sable Media on pause, her empire in question, but she promised she'd return. Clare stood atop Newman Media, not unscathed, but unbroken. The war wasn't just about power. It was about becoming the woman she was always meant to be. And in Genoa City, the battle lines may shift, alliances may change, but one thing was certain. Clare Grace Newman versus Audrey Charles had become the rivalry of the decade, and neither was done fighting. Adam Newman's defiance. Over with Adam, he got orders from Victor regarding Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson. The more that Adam stalls, the angrier Victor will get. During their next conversation, Chelsea is listening nearby. So, this is a real test for Adam. That isn't, although, Clare and Kyle try to make a deal with Adam. So, it will be interesting to see what they propose later. Nikki tries to make a deal with Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman. Well, Victor isn't going to like that. By the end of the week though, Victor strikes an unexpected deal with someone. Y&R Adam Newman's defiance. Genoa City had always been a battlefield, but for Adam Newman, the war was never just corporate. It was personal, brutal, and unrelenting. For years, Adam had lived in the shadow of his legendary father, Victor Newman, a titan of industry and intimidation. He'd been the prodigal son, the black sheep, the betrayer, the redeemer, and everything in between. But now, Adam Newman was tired of the cycle, of playing by Newman rules, of seeking acceptance from a family that gave only crumbs of approval. His defiance wasn't a flare-up, it was an eruption. It started when Victor quietly began restructuring the Newman family hierarchy. After months of simmering power struggles, Victor declared Victoria as the uncontested CEO of Newman Enterprises. The decision wasn't a shock, but it stung. Victor had dangled power in front of Adam more times than he could count, only to yank it away at the last second. Adam had played nice, taken the high road, even tried to make amends with Nick, Victoria, and even Nikki. But the olive branch had thorns, and Adam had bled for it too long. In a meeting designed to appear as a show of unity, Victor had praised Victoria for her strategic mind, Nick for his reliability, and even Clare for her growth within Newman Media. Adam's contributions, barely mentioned, and when Adam challenged the decision to pass him over again, Victor simply said, "Your track record speaks for itself." Those words echoed in Adam's mind like a gunshot. Track record. What about loyalty? What about saving Faith's life? What about putting himself in danger for this family more than once? What about his repeated efforts to change? That night, Adam left the office with a smile plastered on his face. But inside, a fire was roaring. He wasn't going to beg for a seat at a table he helped build. He would create his own empire, and this time there would be no apologies. The first act of defiance was small but telling. Adam withdrew his shares from the family trust. It was a move that set the legal teams buzzing and Victor fuming. Nikki tried to play peacekeeper, urging Adam to reconsider, but he was firm. "I'm done being the family's fallback plan or villain of the week. I'm building something that's mine." He approached Chancellor Winters with a bold pitch. A media and tech hybrid division targeting next-gen innovation, one that could outpace Newman Media within a year. Devin Hamilton was skeptical but intrigued. Lily Winters was hesitant, especially given Adam's reputation, but Nate Hastings, he saw opportunity. The two struck a tentative alliance. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. With Nate's strategic insight and Adam's daring instincts, they launched a new venture, Archon Dynamics. Word spread fast. Victor naturally considered it a declaration of war. But Adam didn't blink. "Let him come," he muttered to Nate after their first investor pitch closed at 3 times their expected seed funding. "I'm not afraid of him anymore." But Adam's rebellion wasn't just corporate. On the personal front, he started making moves that shook Genoa City's social hierarchy. He reconnected with Chelsea, not romantically, but as co-parents and occasional collaborators. Together, they developed a digital art therapy initiative for children, launching it under Archon's philanthropic arm. The press loved it. Connor beamed with pride, and for once Chelsea looked at Adam with something other than disappointment. Sally Spectra, meanwhile, watched from the sidelines. Their relationship had imploded under the weight of grief and confusion, especially after the loss of their baby. But seeing Adam thrive, seeing him stand tall and clear-eyed, stirred something in her. She approached him at society one evening, cautiously hopeful. "You look happy," she said. "I am," Adam replied, without the bitterness that once tinged his every word. "For the first time, I'm not pretending." They shared a drink, then another. Sparks weren't reignited instantly, but something shifted. A fragile understanding emerged. They were no longer orbiting each other chaotically. They were finally aligned. Back at Newman Enterprises, Victor launched a counteroffensive. He offered poached contracts, tried to undercut Archon's valuation, and sent lawyers sniffing around Adam's investors. But each time, Adam had already anticipated the move. "You taught me well," Adam said in a televised interview that went viral, "but I outgrew your playbook." Victoria scoffed at the interview. "He's just trying to get under your skin," she told Victor. But Victor knew better. Adam wasn't trying. He was succeeding. When Archon Dynamics secured a government contract to build a next-gen data security platform, Victor called for a family meeting. Adam wasn't invited. Nick objected. Nikki urged Victor to reconsider, but Victoria stood firm. He made his choice. That night, Adam held a quiet celebration. Nate was there, so were Chelsea, Connor, and to everyone's surprise, Sharon. Sharon had kept her distance from Adam lately, focusing on her own healing and her therapy center. But she had seen his growth, and tonight, she came not as a therapist, but as a friend. "You're not the same man who walked into my office all those years ago," she said softly. "No," Adam agreed. "But I remember every lesson he learned." Then came the bombshell. A corporate leak revealed that Newman Enterprises had falsified data on a recent energy deal, a deal Victoria had personally overseen. The story hit the media. Regulators launched an investigation, and Newman stock took a dive. Victoria scrambled to control the damage. Victor called in every favor he had. Nikki was furious. The source of the leak? No one could prove it, but speculation pointed toward Archon. Victor stormed into Archon HQ unannounced. He found Adam in a sleek office, calm and unfazed. "You think you've won?" Victor growled. "There's no war," Adam replied coolly. "I just stopped losing. You betrayed your family. I freed myself from them." Victor left without another word. The fallout from the scandal rocked Newman Enterprises. Victoria managed to survive, but barely. She was forced to step down temporarily. Nick took on an interim role. Clare, meanwhile, was thrust into the spotlight and handled it with grace. But Adam, he remained untouched. Months passed, Archon grew. Newman stabilized. Genoa City adjusted to a new reality. Adam Newman was no longer the villain. He was a disruptor, a visionary, and a symbol of rebellion that finally paid off. And still, he remained vigilant. One evening, as he walked through Chancellor Park with Connor, the boy asked, "Are you ever going back to Newman?" Adam smiled faintly. "Why would I go backward?" He looked toward the skyline, the tower that once held his father's empire, now just one piece of a city filled with opportunity. His defiance had once been his flaw. Now it was his freedom. And in a town where power always came at a price, Adam Newman had finally found a way to win on his own terms. Chelsea Lawson's secret. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 4th reveal that Chelsea and Lily will do some catching up. Then Chelsea shares a secret with Lily. Later in the week, Chelsea is forced to pick a side. Why are Chelsea Lawson's secret? Genoa City had seen its fair share of whispers and scandals, but none as quietly devastating as the one Chelsea Lawson carried within her. For months, she walked through life with a careful smile, a mother's warmth, and the demeanor of a woman who had finally found peace. But peace was a mask, and behind it lived a truth she'd buried deep, one that, if exposed, could destroy everything she'd rebuilt. Chelsea had clawed her way back from rock bottom. From the hospitalizations to the betrayals, the breakdowns to the recoveries, she had emerged steadier, more grounded. Her co-parenting relationship with Adam had become surprisingly amicable, even stable. Connor thrived between both households. Her friendship with Billy had turned into a respectful distance after realizing they wanted different things, and her work, her growing nonprofit for mental health support, was gaining local recognition. From the outside, she was whole. But secrets festered and Chelsea's began nearly a year ago, with a single mistake that had snowballed into something she could no longer ignore. It started with a man named Grant Whitmore. He wasn't from Genoa City. He had no ties to Newman or Abbott or Chancellor Winters. He was a therapist she met during a wellness conference in Chicago. They connected after a panel about trauma recovery. Chelsea hadn't planned for it. Hadn't gone looking for romance, but one dinner turned into long phone calls. And when she returned to Chicago for a follow-up event, they spent the weekend together. No one in Genoa City knew about him. Not Adam, not Chloe, not even Sharon. Chelsea told herself it was just a moment, something healing and human. She and Grant parted ways with no expectations, but weeks later, back in Genoa City, Chelsea discovered she was pregnant. Panic gripped her. She had just gotten her life back on track. She didn't know Grant well enough to raise a child together. And most of all, she feared what the truth would do to Connor, to Adam, to her fragile balance. So, she made a decision. She kept the pregnancy secret, and when complications led to a devastating miscarriage just 10 weeks in, she bore that grief alone. Only Chloe noticed the changes, the distant stars, the avoidance, the haunted look when kids were mentioned. But Chelsea deflected, blamed stress, the non-profit, old memories resurfacing. She buried it, or so she thought. Months later, when Grant unexpectedly showed up in Genoa City, offering to consult with her non-profit, Chelsea's world tilted. Seeing him brought it all back. The weekend, the choice, the loss. "I had no idea you were in town," she said when they crossed paths at Crimson Lights. "I thought I'd surprise you," he smiled. "Didn't expect to get the cold shoulder." "It's not that," she stammered. "I just wasn't prepared." He sensed something was wrong, but Chelsea brushed it off. Still, the secret clawed at her. Grant's presence was a ticking time bomb. Chloe noticed immediately. "Who's the new guy?" "You know, him." Chelsea's defenses went up. "Just an old acquaintance from a conference." But Chloe had been in the trenches with Chelsea for too long to be fooled. She started watching closely, asking quiet questions. And when she spotted Chelsea and Grant arguing outside the coffee house late one evening, her instincts screamed. Chelsea finally confessed to Chloe, but only part of it. That she'd had a brief relationship, that it ended, that she didn't want complications. Chloe tried to be supportive, but pushed gently. "If there's more to this, if something happened, you don't have to go through it alone. I'm fine," Chelsea lead. But she wasn't. She began experiencing bouts of anxiety again. Nightmares returned. Her non-profit work suffered. And when Sharon, now a trusted advisor for the foundation, noticed her absence from key events, she invited her for coffee. "I see the signs, Chelsea," Sharon said gently. "Talk to me." But Chelsea smiled. "I'm just tired." Subscribe our channel for more latest update. That's all. It all came crashing down during the nonprofit's fall gala. Grant was in attendance, mingling with donors. Adam, there to support Connor Unk's mother, spotted the tension between them. His curiosity turned to concern when he saw Chelsea suddenly retreat mid-event, pale and shaken. He followed her outside. "Is everything okay?" he asked, genuinely worried. "I'm fine," she replied quickly. Too quickly. "Who is that guy?" Adam pressed. "It doesn't matter. You're lying." And for the first time, Chelsea snapped. "Do you know what it's like to carry a secret so heavy it suffocates you? To lose something you never expected to want." Adam stepped back. "Chelsea." She closed her eyes, exhaling shakily. "I was pregnant months ago. It wasn't planned, and I lost it." Adam was stunned. "Why didn't you tell me, or anyone?" "Because I didn't want anyone to look at me like I was broken again. I've worked so hard to be whole." Adam's voice was soft. "You are whole. You survived something unimaginable. But you didn't have to do it alone." For the first time in a long time, Chelsea cried, not in anger or despair, but in release. The next day, Sharon visited her. Adam had called her worried. Chelsea opened up about everything. The pregnancy, the miscarriage, the grief, the guilt. "I thought moving on meant pretending it didn't happen." "No," Sharon said. "Moving on means honoring it, feeling it, and then letting yourself live again." With that, Chelsea began to heal truly this time. She spoke privately with Grant, finally telling him the truth. He was devastated but kind, understanding. He offered support, friendship, space, whatever she needed. And then came the hardest part, telling Connor. "I need to tell you something, honey," she said, voice trembling. A while ago, I was going to have a baby, but it didn't happen, and I was sad. Still am sometimes. Connor Unk's eyes welled. Was it mine? No, sweetheart. But that doesn't mean it didn't matter. He hugged her tightly. I'm glad you told me. Chelsea emerged stronger. Not perfect, not unscarred, but real. The community's response was overwhelming. When Chelsea later shared her story in a powerful blog post through the nonprofit anonymously at first and then under her name, the article went viral. Messages poured in from women who had felt alone, unseen, silenced by their grief. Chelsea had turned her pain into purpose. In the months that followed, the nonprofit expanded its outreach, launching a new initiative specifically for miscarriage and infant loss support. The town rallied around her. Sharon nominated her for a local civic award. Chloe cried tears of pride. Even Victor Newman offered a rare nod of respect. You took something dark and made it a light for others, he said. But perhaps the most poignant moment came when Billy approached her after reading the blog. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed someone. You didn't know, Chelsea replied. I should have. They shared a long, quiet embrace. Chelsea's secret had once been her burden. But by facing it, she gave voice to countless others who had suffered in silence. And in doing so, she reclaimed her story, not as a victim, but as a warrior. In Genoa City, secrets never stay buried, but some, when revealed, become a catalyst for healing, connection, and change. And Chelsea Lawson had just rewritten her legacy. Tools Week of August 4, 2025. Fans will also see Kane Ashby-Billy Flynn form a new alliance. Meanwhile, Billy has a blow-up with Jill Abbott. Jess Walton, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, will work hard to protect her interests. Phyllis will also work extra hard to get under Billy's skin. What is this? Kane insists that the deal doesn't work if Phyllis and Billy can't get along. Though, can they really be civil and work together for Kane? Or will they both regret this risky decision? Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of August 4, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 4 to 8, 2025. Reveal intense developments revolving around power struggles, personal secrets, and evolving alliances in Genoa City. The primary storyline centers on the fierce rivalry between Clare Grace Newman and Audrey Charles, two formidable women vying for control within Newman Enterprises, especially over the valuable Valencia media acquisition. Clare, returning stronger and more determined, aims to restore integrity to Newman Media, while Audra, a shrewd and ambitious executive, challenges her at every turn, leading to corporate sabotage, media leaks, and personal threats. Despite Audra's aggressive maneuvers, Clare's resilience and strategic approach secure her a critical victory, although the rivalry remains unresolved. Parallel to this corporate battle is Adam Newman's defiance against his father Victor and the Newman family's established hierarchy. Feeling marginalized after Victor appoints Victoria as CEO, Adam withdraws his shares and launches Archon Dynamics, a rival media and tech company. His alliance with Nate Hastings and philanthropic efforts with Chelsea Lawson mark his transformation from outcast to visionary disruptor, challenging the Newman empire on his own terms. Adam's rebellion sparks family tensions and regulatory scandals implicating Newman Enterprises, further altering Genoa City's power dynamics. Chelsea Lawson's storyline reveals a deeply personal secret, a past pregnancy with a man named Grant Whitmore that ended in miscarriage. Chelsea's struggle to keep this hidden from Adam and others takes a toll on her mental health and non-profit work. The secret eventually surfaces, leading to emotional confrontations, healing conversations, and Chelsea's public sharing of her story, which resonates with many and strengthens her role as a community advocate. The episode also hints at new alliances and conflicts involving Kane Ashby, Billy Abbott, and Phyllis Summers, setting the stage for future drama. Clare Grace Newman and Audrey Charles engage in a high-stakes corporate and personal rivalry over Newman Media's future. Clare exposes Audra sabotage during a tense Newman board meeting, turning the tide in the Valencia acquisition battle. Adam Newman defies Victor, launching Archon Dynamics and redefining himself as a rebel and innovator. Chelsea Lawson reveals a painful secret about a past pregnancy and miscarriage, leading to personal healing and public advocacy. Victor Newman restructures Newman Enterprises, appointing Victoria as CEO, igniting family power struggles. Audra's aggressive tactics, include leaking damaging information and attempting to sabotage Clare's allies. Kane Ashby, Billy Abbott, and Phyllis Summers enter a complicated alliance fraught with tension and potential conflict. Power and integrity clash in corporate warfare. The battle between Clare and Audra encapsulates a classic conflict between ethical leadership and ruthless ambition. Clare's focus on integrity and legacy contrasts sharply with Audra's aggressive, profit-driven strategy, highlighting the complexities of corporate governance in high-stakes environments. This rivalry underscores how personal histories and reputations impact business decisions and alliances within family-owned empires. Strategic use of information and sabotage. The story reveals how information warfare plays a critical role in corporate battles. Audra's use of leaks and smear campaigns to undermine Clare demonstrates the destructive potential of insider tactics. However, Clare's methodical investigation and discreet counterattack reveal the importance of patience, evidence gathering, and timing when combating covert threats. Female rivalry with nuanced dimensions. Clare and Audra's rivalry is not simply one of antagonism but a layered conflict involving personal trauma, ambition, and survival. Both women leverage their past struggles and strengths differently. Clare as a survivor seeking redemption, Audra as a relentless power player unafraid to play dirty. Their confrontation also reflects broader themes of female empowerment and rivalry in male-dominated corporate worlds. Adam Newman's transformation symbolizes rebellion and renewal. Adam's storyline encapsulates the theme of breaking free from toxic family dynamics to forge an independent identity. His withdrawal from the family trust and founding of Archon Dynamics symbolize a generational shift and the rise of disruptive innovation, challenging entrenched power. His success, despite Victor's counterattacks, illustrates the potential for reinvention and resilience in the face of rejection. Complexity of family business politics. Victor's decision to sideline Adam and elevate Victoria highlights the intricate balancing act required in family businesses, where personal relationships and business interests collide. The fallout, including legal battles, media scandals, and shifting loyalties, demonstrates how family politics can destabilize even the most powerful enterprises. Chelsea Lawson's secret highlights mental health and vulnerability. Chelsea's concealed pregnancy and miscarriage storyline bring a deeply human element to the soap opera, emphasizing themes of grief, secrecy, and healing. Her journey from isolation to public advocacy showcases the power of vulnerability and storytelling in transforming personal pain into communal strength, while also spotlighting the stigma surrounding miscarriage and mental health. Emerging alliances and tensions set the stage for future drama. The hinted alliance between Kane Ashby, Billy Abbott, and Phyllis Summers introduces potential volatility, as their differing personalities and past conflicts suggest instability. Kane's insistence on cooperation despite tension, and Phyllis's intent to provoke Billy, indicate ongoing power struggles and emotional conflicts that will likely drive future storylines. The week of August 4th to 8th in The Young and the Restless promises a compelling blend of corporate intrigue, personal revelations, and shifting alliances. Clare Grace Newman's battle against Audrey Charles serves as a centerpiece of the narrative, exploring themes of power, ethics, and survival in the high-pressure world of Newman Enterprises. Simultaneously, Adam Newman's defiance and reinvention provide a fresh perspective on family loyalty and ambition, while Chelsea Lawson's poignant secret adds emotional depth and social relevance to the unfolding drama. Together, these storylines weave a rich tapestry of conflict, resilience, and transformation that will engage fans and set the tone for future episodes.